Great. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to welcome you to our last captain's chat of this year. I can't believe it. This year has just gone so fast and it's been so crazy, but I was telling people earlier today, I'm feeling hopeful because a lot of us have gotten our vaccination. I sent out on yesterday or Monday, days run together, a report that Ventura College has no current cases and no one in quarantine at this time related to COVID. So our practice that we've been using and that we're doing are working. I really appreciate our student health center, our nurses, Adriana Parsons and Mary Jones, and the whole health center and all of our screeners who have really been working hard to keep us safe. So, and your efforts too, by continuing to wear your mask and social distancing and good hand washing and staying home when we're sick. So I really am feeling hopeful that we're going to get through this and get to see each other again. The Hollywood Squares thing is just not quite doing it for me. I like to see people's smiling faces and hugs and all those kind of things. So a couple other things before we get started. I wanted to remind you there's a panel for Cesar Chavez celebration tomorrow, and I believe it's at 1 o'clock. If someone has information on that, can you pop that into the chat to share with the group? And then also next week, we have our diversity and culture celebration. We partner with Oxnard College, so we have a really nice complement of programs that you can take advantage of, and we're going to all learn a lot next week. So Damien, I know you posted that flyer earlier. If you could do that again, I'd appreciate it. The last thing I wanted to just let you know is, or remind you that even though we haven't been together, we've been celebrating, together in person, we've been celebrating our 95th anniversary. It's felt a lot like isolation and in COVID, but we are celebrating it because it means that Ventura College has been providing affordable, high quality education to our county and our students since 1925. So that's a long time, and that's something to definitely be proud of. And then I know that our future is bright because we have such fabulous, dedicated professionals at Ventura College. We have great faculty, we have great classified professionals, administrators, a foundation, and many donors that support Ventura College. And last but not least, we have a phenomenal student body that also helps share their wisdom. We learn as much from them as they learn from us. So with that, I'm going to turn it over. We have our guests from with our facilities master plan kickoff, and I will let them get started. So if you want to introduce yourself, Rob, and your team, that would be fabulous.
Glad to. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're thrilled to be here. I'm joined by my team here today, Benny DeVecchio and Sunny Palmer. We have put on our matching backgrounds so you can pick us out of the crowd there in the Hollywood Squares or Brady Bunch boxes. So we're really pleased to be here. We wanted to lead you through a presentation, and we're going to jump into the world of video games, if you will, a bit. We're going to ask you to try some activities with us. So both Sunny and Benny will be guiding some of that in a moment here. Andrea, if I could get the rights to share my screen, I'm going to pull up a presentation. There we go. Thank you. How's that look to everybody? Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Head nods. Okay, great. So let me advance ourselves along here. I wanted to spend a little time just with some introductions that we just spent a little time doing, but really present our task. What are we going to be undertaking with regards to the master plan? Kind of more in a broad perspective, what our process is going to be, the timeline, and again, getting into that engagement with you, doing a little bit of some post-it noting and identifying some places on campus that are really meaningful and will help us a lot in our planning going forward. So I've introduced Benny and Sunny. Our team is a lot bigger than that, and even bigger than those that are on the screen right now. We're also going to be joined by Mike and Sania. Both are important to our efforts together as we're working on the planning. This is a group that's really going to be getting into some data analysis, information gathering, working with you in sessions like this, doing even more outreach, diving into the programs on the campus, and getting into the assessments of the facilities and the like. So these are all things that we'll be looking at with regards to the information that we get from you, not only through conversations like this, but a lot of data sources that we have available to us as well. So your educational plan, strategic planning are key to that first starting or jumping off point, but then getting the information around your facilities as well. So the assessment structurally or the mechanical systems, landscape, how all these things are performing. Our idea really here is that we want to make sure that we're putting a plan together for the future. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we prepare for you, even just these little bullet points here, is a little bit of what is it we are doing. And so our task here really in reading these bullet points is to really create this vision of what your campus plan is going to be able to support over the next 10 years. So not only your educational plan and strategic plan, again, those are the foundation elements, but what's the environment that's on campus as far as the welcoming of your community, engaging with your community, creating places for your students to be successful, a place for your faculty and staff to ensure their success, and collectively, again, turning around and looking back at our students and ensuring that we're providing them with the curriculum and the programs that they need to be successful, whether it's in seeking their career or looking for just advancing information and their ability to be effective at work, or going off into a four-year institution or other degrees or other opportunities. So this really does start with us translating your strategic plan and your educational plan into a plan that's going to be able to support that. So those physical environments, and again, the buildings, the campus, and even all the concepts in between of how your students get there, the environments of creating places that they can, in between home or work and class, they have the environments that are going to be supportive of them. And especially now, knowing that we're really in this place where we really have to have high flex environments, something that's supportive while you're at home, while you're at work, while you're in a classroom, while you're outside on the campus. We need to be able to engage with the college from anywhere. And that's certainly become evident over the past year, and it's going to be very, very important for us all going forward as well. So we need to make sure that we're aligning this campus planning into these desired outcomes, and those things we've learned more recently are really important to our continued success. So that establishing of a framework for implementation that supports day-to-day decisions. We're preparing what's called a campus plan, facilities master plan. It's got a long time frame in which we're looking out to preparing facilities for tomorrow, or that long period of time. But we want to make sure that we're giving you the tools to make smart decisions today that are aimed at that long range vision. So whether it's, do we modernize this building, or do we plant plants here, or do we repair this sidewalk? All of it's really aiming at looking at that long range vision of what needs to be in place in 10 years and beyond, so that we can be successful today and for the long term. And lastly, we want to make sure that we're maximizing all the funding that you have, both operationally as well as for your facilities themselves. So whether that's state monies for projects that come from the state, or that's local monies, all of this needs to be maximized and make sure that we're really giving you the tools to be the most efficient and effective. So with that, are there any questions about what I presented, some of the topics about what we're doing in our planning work? And if not, we're going to dive into some more information and our activities. We encourage you throughout here, as always. I'm sure I've seen a couple of chats already. Please feel free to pop some questions in there. We'll be keeping an eye on that and trying to respond throughout our presentation, our work together today too. Benny?
Is infrastructure part of this process?
We will be considering infrastructure, absolutely. And in fact, part of what we're doing right now is actually taking a look at what do we want to make sure that we do between now and starting to develop options. So how in depth do we want to get into looking at the infrastructure? What sources of information are we going to utilize? And are there facilities or places on campus we actually need to do a little bit more study than others? So actually our front part of this process is going to do just that. And Benny will share a little bit more about that.
Sure, thank you so much. Thanks for the question. And yes, that's a great segue on what's next, because we wanted to talk a little bit about our process and timeline. Can everybody hear me fine? Okay, great. So at the very beginning, as Rob was saying, it's what we call the information and discovery phase. That's when we start talking with all of you. We start digging into more information and data assembly. So that's exactly when we will look at all the infrastructure and all the data that we have so far. Then shortly after that, and that's probably in the next month or so, we'll go into the analysis and outreach. You'll see that we call that specifically outreach and analysis because that's really the bulk of the outreach, but you'll see outreach throughout the process. In fact, today it's our first workshop. And you'll see that throughout, as I said. So during the analysis, we'll look at, we'll go to campus, we'll look at, we'll come back with some observations, and we'll start setting up goals for this master plan and what we call the principles. Then we'll go into the options and recommendations. That's a phase when we start brainstorming with you about the option for this vision, what this vision will be. So we'll talk about different scenarios and potentially one hybrid recommendation will come out of it. And then finally, the last phase is really the documentation. So it's when we'll come back to you with the campus plan, and again we'll get feedback, and that's when probably in the next 8-10 months, that's our goal, is to then finish and post the facilities and campus plan.
One thing, just so you're aware, is I would really focus on faculty input between now and mid-May, because a lot of faculty are off campus or off contract in the summer. Yes.
Thank you for pointing that out. In fact, Rob, if you can go to the next slide, please. We try to draft a little schedule, understanding that there is the summer break and then the Thanksgiving and the winter break, and we're trying to, as you can see, the yellow or orange, those 3 weeks, that's when we'll try to have the bulk of our what we call user group meetings or faculty, anything that would really help inform this master plan. So we'll try to fit that until end of May, if possible. So this is just to let everybody know that that there is plenty of opportunities to get feedback. There is plenty of opportunities for the campus and the students, but also for, as you mentioned, the academic senate, the classified senate, the faculty, anybody to give feedback. And we definitely welcome that. So just like today, we'll try to have, we're like online activities as we have for the past year, hoping that we could also have in-person activities. So from town halls to online activities and everything in between, we'll try to engage throughout this 8-10 months. And that's a good introduction for what Sunny will walk us through for the activity today.
All right.
So go ahead, Rob, to the next slide, please.
Okay, so I think Benny's going to be putting a link in the Zoom chat for everyone. Once that's in there, you can go ahead and click on it, and it's going to take you to this sort of virtual board called Miro in your browser, and that's where we're gonna be doing a few exercises. So I think the link should be there now. Let us know if anyone's having any issues getting in. So we're gonna take we're gonna go through 3 activities, and after each one, we'll take a pause and kind of gather our thoughts and discuss and see kind of what the results are for each activity. So Benny, did you grab everyone to follow your cursor? If you could do that.
Yes.
So
Rob,
everyone should be, okay.
Go ahead.
So everyone should be seeing the two images. What we're going to be doing is, you see there's yellow, blue, green, and pink dots to the left of each image. There you're going to select the dot that reflects what you best identify with. So student, faculty, staff, admin will be blue. Green is the community member, or pink if you don't identify with any of those. And what you're going to be doing is taking one of those dots. You can either Control V, so copy it, and you're going to paste it onto your favorite building or space on the campus. You can place more than one dot, so feel free to do that if you need to. But the space, it doesn't have to be a building. It could be a space. It can be an open area. It can be a specific building. Kind of just what's your favorite one. There's a campus map also to the left if you're not as familiar with the aerial view, so you can go ahead and use that if you need to as well. And then secondly, after you're choosing your favorite building or space, you'll go ahead and scroll or pan down to below that, and you'll be selecting your least favorite building and space. So we'll go ahead and give everyone some time to kind of go through there and place your dots wherever you see fit, and then we'll be reviewing afterwards for about 5 to 10 minutes and discussing the results. So please let us know if you have any questions or are having any issues grabbing dots or anything like that.
I think you can add that once they log in, we had to zoom out because it's really zoomed in, so you might not recognize what Sunny just showed you, but zoom out and it'll look more familiar to what she just showed you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'm noticing some people are having some problems copying and pasting. Other things are popping in here, so I am trying to delete them as they pop in. So don't worry if you accidentally paste something into the session, we'll pop that back out. And we're hoping that you're putting your dots on the kind of satellite view of the campus, not the campus map. Though if you need some orientation to different facilities on campus, don't be afraid to take a look at that campus map. Love seeing all the activity of people buzzing around. This is a tool that has offered us a great deal of assistance in being able to collaborate virtually. And as you can see, just the opportunity here to do what we would normally do with you in person, of doing some post-it notes on a board on the front of the room, an opportunity to do that digitally. We can copy and save that. In this case, we're even recording it so that the session can be saved later. So if you've got ideas or reasons as to, whoop, let me try and get rid of some of these things that are getting posted in here. There we go. If you've got some reasons to why you like those things, are we going to do that next Sunday, or should I go ahead and ask for that input?
Yeah, we can take after we see kind of where everyone's.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And I would also add, once you've put the dot on your favorite, you can go down on the next map and says, what's your least favorite? So we'd like to do that at the same time, and then we can summarize it, as Rob was saying.
Looks like some folks have already started doing the least favorite down there, so that's great. So again, just orientation wise, the top one is for your favorite place or building, and the bottom one for your least favorite.
We see a lot in the new building or newer building. I see the favorite.
And we'd encourage you, while I'm seeing a lot of the same people dropping the same dot in the same place, if you can give us some context by helping us understand what one person's perspective is. Just one dot or two dots is definitely fine to identify something. I see a lot of the same people moving dots to the same place to be very vocal in their preference or lack of preference.
I assume we're just placing one dot, right, in each?
You
As
can put
many as you
multiple-
want.
Yeah, many as you
Yeah.
want, but we would ask that you be careful not to put too many dots on the same thing. We get the idea that there may be likes and dislikes, but try to put one dot in one particular place, not 7, 8, 9, 10 dots on one building.
And a smiley face would work too.
Yeah. Well, and then all the blue dots are gone. So I think people are just using whatever dot they want.
Go ahead and grab somebody else's blue dot and hit the Control-C and Control-V, or copy and paste. You can create your own, that's fine too.
And I've actually copied a couple to the right, so I can keep copying them.
Yeah, maybe some yellows too.
These maps look like how my head feels.
I think even if you don't do Control-C, Control-V, if you click on it, there's a box with a plus to duplicate it. And then you can drag that new one. It'll like create a new one right to the side of it.
Oh yeah, there's a little ellipses you can click on to get more
Oh, I see.
options.
Ooh, you can make it big. No, I didn't want to do that. Oh my goodness. Oh no.
Is that Kim, the big happy face?
No,
I'm reducing that.
that
Whoever's
is
doing that,
not
I'm
me.
reducing that for you. I'll put it over here. You can.
That is not me. Where is that?
I think it was me.
It's okay, we'll try.
Just want you to know how happy I am.
Is the
As
ECT
educators-
building on there?
Is
As
the what? I'm sorry.
educators, we're supposed to know how to follow directions.
It's,
Well,
oh,
it looks like the blue dots moved over here.
I think the ECT building's covered up, huh?
It is. It's hard to see. It's in the trees.
Yeah,
If you
That's
did-
right. It has the ECT, yeah. It's
Okay.
yeah.
that one's awful, awful.
Yes.
We can put a dot for you.
I did it. Nope, I was successful.
And maybe now, Rob, it's time to summarize, since I know we have only a limited time and we really want to take you through the other activities.
Sure. Let me get rid of this extra map somebody copied.
Oh, I like
Okay,
people are
well-
using the comments as well.
Why don't we pause? Everybody stop your posting. I'm going to drag you all up to view the top screen. So you should all now be brought forward here. And I'm going to zoom in on the campus map enough that we can see most of the dots. Bring you all back in there again. Okay, Sunny, do you want to lead, kind of the question at hand
Sure.
with regards
so
to
let's see.
people's opinion?
Yeah. So let's see. Seems like we've got a lot down here. If anyone wants to specifically jump in and, say why you voted for this specific area, we're going to take notes and kind of record what everyone thinks. So feel free for anyone, just as you wish, to jump in. You can also put your comment in the chat if that's easier for you as well.
And I see Carol Smith, you've indicated you're not able to do anything on your phone. So if you'd like to just keep typing in the chat box as well, we can make sure to grab something for you and post it on there. Anybody willing to share a little bit of information behind why they've made their posts?
Maybe like hover over a building and say, because I can't tell what
Sure. In fact,
building is got all those around it.
ASC is the most popular building. So people
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just drew a yellow circle. Let's talk
Yeah.
right there. Some opinions on why that's a very popular favorite place.
It has nice resources. It's got nice projectors. It's got audience, nice chairs. It's modern. Costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
Better work.
bigger classrooms.
Right.
Nice bathrooms.
Has a lot of good functionality. I mean, there's even a kitchen in there. If there's a box office in there, there's technology in their editing room that brings that lobby and 2 classrooms together for large presentations to large groups.
It's a lab also. It's a gigantic lab on one side, which is more participatory and yeah.
Oh, there's an outdoor classroom there too, and I know that it's utilized somewhat, but
Yeah, I've seen it used a lot. Yeah, good.
It's also a sort of cross-campus resource used by a lot of different activities, and they have movie nights when we didn't have COVID and different things like that.
Yeah, I would say that student services uses it a lot for a lot of our events.
Foundation uses it a lot for our events as well.
right. There's a
Showcases a
nice,
lot of things there.
yeah, there's a nice, like the hallway, the entrance hallway is a nice kind of reception area, the way they've laid it out.
And then the patio is used right out front too for various activities.
Would it being one of the newer buildings on campus, this may be a rhetorical question, but would you say that it represents the type of environments that you'd like more of on campus?
I think so.
Whether or not it's a new building or not, or the types of classrooms, the types of environments that are in and around it are representing what you'd like to have more of?
Yes, I'll say yes.
Okay.
Great.
All right, I'm gonna move over to another area that looks like it has a concentration, which is over in some of the admin area here. Can we tell us a little bit about why that's been highlighted as a favorite area?
I can't imagine, but I can't wait to hear what people say.
The mailboxes.
Well, I didn't mark it, but one of the things that's great about that location is that's the center of campus for all student activity.
I wonder if they thought it was the student lounge area and the student.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Area, because that's right across the courtyard from it. So, because I agree, I don't know why anyone would think the admin building's great. It's not.
It has kind of a nostalgic feel to it because that was the front of the college when I attended VC. So now people call it the back of the college. So to me, when you look at it, it looks from the front, from Telegraph, it looks like a classic college with the little tower type thing in the front. The architecture is really cool. So I think to me, it has kind of a nostalgic feel, and it's kind of VC's face in the community.
You can see it behind Kim, right? Isn't that your backdrop, Kim?
Yeah, there it is.
Mm-hmm. You're on mute, Kim.
I've been talking and it goes on mute. No, I like Jordana. I think the point Jordana is making with regards to keeping that nostalgia. I mean, we just talked about our 95th. We were established a while ago. I think we came to this location, I want to say 1945-ish. And so, yes, keeping that feel, it would be important, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about, let's move up into this area here. It's the library now. Thoughts? Anybody willing to share why they put their post-its or notes there?
So we have, it is a hub for students. We have the library, we have the huge computer lab, we have a reading room, we have tutoring services in there, as well as faculty.
And at Christmas, we have the Nutcracker.
Yes.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
the
It
acoustics in
sounds
that
so beautiful in that building.
in the vestibule. The acoustics are incredible. So our orchestra plays there every holiday, except for last year, right?
Yeah, right, right.
Beautiful.
But there are problems with that building as well. There's it's good things and bad things, because the
Yes.
elevator, to get to the third floor, you know, the public has to take the elevator. The stairs only go to the second floor. I think that
You can only get out, you can't get up.
yeah, I think that the beach could be, because it's so open and there's some audio challenges in relation to that it could be better utilized. So I think that there's some other things with regards to that building that certainly could be improved, but it is one of our newer buildings as well.
Mhm.
It has a nice training studio at the bottom that is for faculty, and we hold meetings down there. And there are places. There's another room for. So there's a place to have video projects and things like that, and then there's another place to have just faculty come and meet, especially part-time faculty who are traveling. So it provides kind of a hub for that type of service too.
That's great. Okay. And then also some of the newer buildings on campus are in this area. I see some dots there.
Right.
Similar reasons.
The health sciences have a great simulation space in there for the nursing EMTs and paramedics.
Yeah, the bulk of our classes are probably in those two buildings. So that's another hub. It's in, and it has a nice outdoor space between the buildings where students congregate. And our best conference room, I'd say, or one of our best, most utilized anyways. Oh, and then Trisha is not saying it, but she's right. And a fantastic view from the third floor. The library has that too. We've got some great views from the upper stories of some of the buildings.
So since we talked about open spaces and outdoor classrooms, what about moving to a different area, open space by the Mediterranean garden? And also I see one blue dot in the area in front of the PAC building. Any comments on that in the open spaces?
I put a dot there. I would love to, the sort of captain's walk or pirate walk, I don't know what we call it, that connects the athletic area with, you know, this favorite building structure, and that whole walk, I think that has so much potential.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the open space there has so much potential. And it is the place I've seen students, even though we've been virtual, the 5% of students, they all come out to this spot to have lunch distanced when I go and pick up the mail. And so I see that as a spot where.
And we already have some plans for that area drawn up too, that the students, right, already helped us put together.
Correct.
For improving that. Another outdoor space, and so you'll see mixed dots, you know, good and bad. The space outside the ECT building is nice. We have picnics and other things there, but the building itself is not. And someone put that in the chat. So, and I think we can get the transcripts from the chat to share with you.
That would be great.
Yeah, I've been adding them on there as well too.
Yeah, I'm periodically hitting the save button, so we've got a copy of it.
This is that ECT space is really a nice place for the community to come together, and it's just really nice. It's so inviting, and it really lends itself to fellowship. It's great.
Okay, should we move on to the least favorite on campus?
Okay, well, I saw one person copying, I won't name names, I saw a lot of one person copying a lot of bullets down here. So somebody want to volunteer?
I know we have some science people on the call.
I think they already put their notes there.
The building's technology is roughly the 1990s. But we're working on that.
Yeah, I know. Malia, I don't know if I see you on the call, if you wanted to share anything about our chemistry labs, I know need lots of help.
Yeah, I was definitely one of those dots in the sciences building. just one. Yeah, it's just the two. I'm talking mostly about the second floor since I don't really teach third and first, but the two lecture halls on the second floor are just, there's no windows. There's only 5 tiny little whiteboards. You can't pull the projector down at the same time. There's no fresh air. Like the only way you can get any sort of ventilation is open the door and then have all of your papers on the front of the room just blow past every single time. Like it's just depressing. It's dark. Like there's stains on the walls of who knows, you don't even want to know what those are from. Yeah, it's just, it's not designed well. Our chem labs, like you can't get to some of the doors without basically, going through some sort of crazy labyrinth that you almost feel like you're walking through a psycho movie because it's like shadowed and dark. Like it's not friendly at all. It's awful.
I see Aaron also, you don't have your mute on. Did you want to add anything?
I would say I did unmute myself because I was definitely one of the people who dropped like 4 dots on the sciences building. So all of the same reasons that Malia has said. Every time that I get assigned a lecture in the sciences building, I always ask for it to be moved out of the sciences building for all of those same reasons. Another one I could add is that there's no back doors to any of those lecture rooms, the big lecture rooms that make it, well, I guess on the 3rd floor, yes, but on the 1st floor or 2nd floor. So it's very disruptive when students come in late or leave early, something like that. I feel like we're watching everyone. The labs, I teach in the summer at SVCC, and every time I walk into the labs at SVCC and then come back to VC, I just realize how much time I'm spending per week, 18 hours plus, in these dark, sad labs. And I know it can be better because I've seen it just up the road be better. So yes.
Mm-hmm. And we also have the lab techs in that building. We've got, I saw Carol and Sheena. Go ahead.
I feel even worse for the lab techs because they live in the center of the building and they don't have any windows at all.
And if I may, Rob, I think that that there is a huge issue with some of the buildings in universal design. And so we do have some major accessibility issues, especially with this building.
Thank you.
And there's other places around campus that we've seen experience the same mobility issues.
Do you have a group on campus that, beyond, kind of I'll just ask this question. Do you have a group on campus that we could turn to really help us have an understanding of those issues?
Absolutely. Our coordinator of our DSPS, Patty Went, and myself would, and Sue Royer, most likely would, the 3 of us would be able to assist you in anything.
Great. Thank you very much.
Any other areas on campus that we should look at because it's not desirable? I understand the building, the ECT building, as someone said before, the outdoor is nice, but then the building itself is not pleasant to be in. I assume that's why there are a couple of dots there.
It's got to be the oldest building on campus. It's 1 story and it's sad.
Someone says in the chat, the parking lot and the pool area.
Pool area.
Parking lot because there's not enough parking. What is the?
It's outside the Child Development Center. It's just, it's overgrown. It's the concrete's not in good shape. The planters are not in good shape. And it does very much go with the old pool area in terms of the way that it looks, which isn't good. So
it used to be a really nice area when the pool was there.
And then just really quickly before we jump to our next activity, there's some dots along the perimeter here. I know that the community uses this facility quite a bit.
Yes.
So can we tell me a little bit about what's going on over here before we move away?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. I would have put a dot there too. I forgot about the old Wright Center. We were donated the library. It was an old library that we've utilized. It's not DSA approved, so we can't use it for classes or anything like that. The bathrooms are definitely not accessible, and it really needs just to be completely re-looked at. And because it's a great space, it's large, where we have activities there and events, and it could be a real star or a real gem to Ventura College if we could bring it up to date. Oh yeah, and a lot of our buildings don't have air conditioning, and which that's one of them.
I also think that outdoor kind of, I guess it's a garden area off of Wright, has the potential for a really cool reception area for small groups. It's kind of overgrown right now, but it really has the potential.
No, I could see like, making it where you could open up have windows that open up into that garden area, so you can make an indoor outdoor, and we don't have a kitchen in there, so that limits the functionality of an event type center.
well, it's plumbed for a kitchen. It's just then it's behind all of the storage. So, there's a patio, the DRC. It's an old building. It used to be where the district office used to be. There's a patio and an old trailer that is there that could be a really nice space also for more intimate events, if it got some love.
Great.
Is everybody getting the hang of this? I've seen some people making some Post-its. That's great, because we're going to need that experience in our next activities.
Yeah, I still can't do anything other than hear you and talk.
Carol,
But
yeah, appreciate that. And love that,
I'm in the Wright Center right now, and we're out distributing student kits to students. I love the Wright Center. I love ECT. I love the old buildings, even though they have major problems, but they have some aesthetics that we don't have elsewhere on campus that I think are worth looking into. I mean, they were built to have some, like the Wright Center has some architecture to it. It's got some shape and nostalgia. And I think there's some of the same reasons that people like the admin building, but I don't think they like the building. They just like the outside look of that building. And
I like the old buildings too, because you don't need the air. They have the atriums, and they really were designed well for airflow. And it will date me, but I remember when the Wright building was built. And
I can remember being in here as a little kid taking, listening to
Okay,
stories.
let me
So
see
there's that
what
kind of
happens when I
nostalgia.
run it manually. Just keep them going, and I'll.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Carol.
Yeah, and also going.
Leave it up on the screen.
Andrew Lucas, could you please mute yourself?
Yeah. I keep thinking he's got
Sorry.
a
No
issue.
problem.
But there's also landscaping around them. So yes, the Wright Center has nice grass and plants around it. I mean, they're weedy, but they're green and it feels cooler because of that. It has the atrium. Same thing around ECT. It's got big plants around it, which is exactly what's wrong with MCE and MCW. Is that they're surrounded by cement. I hate the cement. I love the inside of MCE. It's great, but the outside of it is all cement.
Yeah.
So having some way of being able to mix that old style with the plants with the new nice inside would help.
So a maintenance problem too, though.
Oh yeah, but there's got to be green things that don't take too much maintenance.
Yeah.
Cement's not working.
I would love to speak for our athletics since I'm not hearing them, but our gym, you know, we could put this in in movies that are nostalgic. we could really get some money for period pieces. By
So, and tell me a little bit more about that. Can you, what's the, how can I put that into a comment that I can post on the board?
It needs some upgrading. It needs modernization for the sake of our athletes and our amazing athletic program. It's very strong. But
the locker rooms, especially. The locker rooms are the same locker rooms when I went to Ventura College in the early 70s. I don't think they've changed.
Some of the faculty offices are, they need help, just to let you know.
We haven't talked about the cafeteria in that whole building. Have we? Did I miss something?
No, we didn't. We really kind of skipped over. We just talked about the nostalgia about the admin building in that area, but no, we haven't talked a whole lot about that.
I put a sticky.
Oh, okay, good.
Great, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, how we doing on time, Sunny?
Well, so we know we want to be respectful of your time. We knew we only had 40 minutes. We did have other activities, but we got great feedback here. We can, you know, do the other activities another time, or if you want to dig into a little bit more, we're
Well,
open
Benny,
to do that
everybody's
too.
got a link to this right now. Do we want to open up the board to allow them? Maybe we can lock down this other piece, but do we want to leave this open maybe to this group?
That's a great idea. If
They can
everybody's
come in
open
here
to do that.
themselves. Yeah, so we'll do that. So we'll lock down the boards. You guys can keep going with your meeting and not be distracted by this. But after the meeting, come on back. You know, use that, save that link. Benny, do you want to copy that in the chat one more time just so people can grab it?
Of course.
And come on back, read the board that just opened up here with all the colorful Post-its on it, and leave some comments there what you think it's important to say about some of the content that's there. And then off to the side, there's even one more board there that is called 100 Ideas that we just love you to drop some other notes in there that maybe not particular to the site itself, but you'd like us to be aware of or ensure that we take a look at as we undertake our studies.
And if you want to, or if it makes more sense for you or whatever technology you're using to put stuff in the chat, I think, Andrea, the chat will go to you, right? As a saved document that you could forward on to them?
Yes, I can do that.
It will, and I did just make a saved copy myself, so we'll have that there, but if something happens after we depart, for sure, please do send it our way.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. This was a fun introduction. There are many more old buildings that we didn't get to, but but they're there. So we look forward to more conversations with you.
We look forward to it too. And this has really been great. You've been a great group, diving into some newer technologies and really doing some workshopping. So we look forward to doing this type of thing with you and many, many, many others later. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So Andrea, I don't know if you want to switch to the agenda or the slides. Not really an agenda. Okay, so that was fun. Thank you for your participation and you know, just an introduction, and we'll probably be doing more of that in the near future. So look for invites. So next we're going to move to, because we've heard a lot of, we've been doing a lot of planning behind the scenes that not everyone's aware of, that we're trying to keep our college and keep everyone safe, because that is a huge priority to us at Ventura College. And so I'm going to hand it over to Kathy Bojorquez, who's going to lead us in a discussion to kind of let you know what's been done and what we're working towards completing in the near future. So, and then we'll also hopefully have time, Kathy, for kind of rumors or anything and other discussions.
Yeah, and Orlando is also going to be presenting with me, and we will go through some of these slides relatively fast, just to make sure that we have opportunity at the end for people to ask questions, because I'm sure there are lots of questions, and we, didn't want to write a novel in a PowerPoint presentation, so it's not going to have every single answer in here for everybody. I just want to start with acknowledging that you may or may not have heard, but our county has entered into the orange tier as of today. And some of you may have even heard so far that our Governor Newsom has stated that he believes that the state will be able to fully reopen on June 15th as far as our economy goes. So that doesn't mean, I think he still anticipates people would wear masks and things like that. We don't really have much information on what that means, except that he thinks we'll be out of the colored tiers. So we have been asked as a campus to prepare plans for each of the departments, and faculty have been asked to plan their classes, considering what it would be like if we were in the red, purple, orange, and yellow tiers. We believe we'll probably be in orange or yellow, or maybe even out of it. And so we have focused on talking about what we have for our facilities in orange and yellow. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so what happened is we have taken the fall plans that all the departments have done, and basically Orlando, Joe Esquivel, Sue Royer, and I basically walked the campus, particularly with a focus to common areas, the open areas, or if we have, like the Student Service Center has multiple departments in there, and looking at the plans of those departments to kind of feel what things we need for the facility. So I'm going to let Orlando talk a little bit about some of the campus-wide things.
Yeah, so campus-wide, some of the stuff that we're preparing to implement further is at each building, we're identifying an entry-exit points. We're going to have hand sanitizing stations as you enter the building and as you exit the building, and some of the labs as well. Restrooms, we're establishing capacities at classrooms based on proper distancing as recommended, and pathways where we're going to be lining up to enter areas, waiting areas. So restrooms are also going to be we're going to have posting on capacity, occupancy capacity limitations. We're going to block off some of the stalls, make sure that we're not crowding any of the restrooms. Each restroom is going to have a touchless paper towel dispenser. If it doesn't have it already, it will be added. And we're going to keep some of the, as a backup, a paper towel dispenser, hand using, manual use. We're also adding signage at a lot of the elevators, or at each elevator, and traffic patterns. For example, like we're going to get into some of the buildings in a bit, but you'll see that where there's multiple entry points, we're going to identify an entry to the building and an exit end of the building. And probably the most significant one that we'll talk about is maybe a bit is MCE, MCW. And we're also looking at installing, we're not just looking at, I'm sorry, I've been saying looking at, but we've already been procuring a lot of these items. A lot of it has been received, and we're installing plexiglass in many of the reception areas and areas, high traffic areas where it makes sense. And I want to add that this is an extension of what we've already been doing. If some of you are not aware, we have been having classes since the even fall semester. And these are measures that we've implemented that have worked successfully, and it's gone well. So as we move forward and implement more of this, we anticipate it's going to continue to be a success. Go ahead.
Thanks. Next slide, please. Okay, so obviously, as whenever possible, we're going to ask students and faculty to wait outdoors so that they're not crowding hallways or areas people might be exiting. And we, again, as you get into certain buildings, we'll talk about entry and exit strategies. The main thing I think that's really important for people to know is that we're going to be hiring a large number of what we're calling monitors. They're really, we're going to do it through the police services. There'll be cadet training, and so that they have experience dealing with crowds or directions or that kind of feel. And these monitors will help us in answering questions for individuals. You know, if someone comes into the LRC and isn't sure what they're supposed to be doing, or the SSC, and they'll have extra masks and things on hand to help help answer questions, help direct people, and you know, if they see someone not wearing a face mask, to tell them that it's required and hand them a face mask. So I think I cut all that, and we're going to make sure that we have at least one monitor in the LRC and SSC. They may have more depending on volume and hours and things like that. And then we'll have some roaming around the campus, you know, maybe outside between MCE, MCW, just where we think people will be. Okay, next slide. So we're going to get into, Orlando mentioned the MCW and MCE talking. So in general, the plan is in orange. Our hope is for social distancing we're going to have everyone, obviously the first floor, they have all outside doors. They can just go into their, well, most of them do, into their classes from the outside. But for the second and third floor, we want that big staircase that is between the two buildings, that will be the main entry points into the second and third floor for MCW and MCE. And then we would have people exit out. For MCW, it would be the west door, and for MCE, it would be the east door. And those doors can be locked from the inside without being a safety hazard, so that individuals inside can always get out. But if someone tried to enter that way, the door would be locked and they wouldn't be able to get in. And we would have all kinds of signage letting people know that, because we don't want people walking up 2 or 3 flights of stairs without knowing that. And then the other thing is elevators. So in MCW, the elevator is actually located near the exit. And so on that elevator, we really would use it just for individuals with disability or people that have health concerns and can't do the stairs, you know, maybe the faculty that have offices up on the 3rd floor. And then the elevator in MCE could be used by whoever wants to use it with a capacity load. And then if there are students that need an elevator to get into MCW or choose to, they can always take the one in MCE if they don't meet the criteria or feel they don't need it. So let's go to the next building, because I do want time for us to talk. Okay, LRC. As we mentioned in our meeting that we just had, LRC has that weird problem that the 3rd floor has the stairwell doesn't go up to the 3rd floor. So we are going to have on that elevator that the elevator for 3rd floor access is only for employees and students who have appointments. And we'll have a sign up with a phone number for the office up on the 3rd floor that students can call if they have questions. And again, we'll have a monitor in the LRC lobby to help people with those questions. And then the second floor, we're going to ask people to use the stairwells. And what we're going to do is we're going to have everybody stay right, just like you're driving a car. So you'll go up on the right and you'll come down on the right, and we'll have little markers and signs for social distancing. We have not chosen in the LRC to have it where you have to enter and exit the lobby in one direction, because we just don't think people will walk all the way around the building for that. And in fact, it may make them be inside more than they would be outside. So they can come and go into the lobby on either end. There's the staircase is right there. And then the first floor, we would do it where the beach has 2 entrances, and we would use one for entry into the beach and one for exit in orange. And if we get to yellow, then we would probably loosen that up a little bit and let people enter in both. Okay, next building. So SSC, where we have a lot of services. So we right now are planning to allow entering and exiting at both of the doors that are open to the public, again, because we're not sure people would walk around anyway and don't want to get in. You don't want to cause a lot of stress for individuals and problems. If in orange, we will try to keep the doors open to help with airflow as weather permits, and as we deem is appropriate, with some changes that we may be making with ventilation. The restrooms will be open with a capacity to the public and students. And again, we'll have social distancing signage. We'll have the spots on the floor where there are places that people need to line up. We will have at least one monitor in there. And if it starts to look like we have a lot of students coming in and it looks like it's getting crowded, then we'll have it where the monitors would hold people outside and kind of control the flow of traffic. So we'll be doing some training depending on what tier we're in when we get to that point. And then just some other areas, if you go to the next slide, just some general things. So the cafeteria and student lounges, we would not make those available in orange. and yellow, we would have capacity limits and blocking off seating, to promote social distancing. The conference room that is in CSC, we would access through the outside door. It does have an outside door, if any of you go in there much. ASC, we would just ask people to go into the classes through the lobby doors and exit. Every class there actually has a door that exits to the outside. So to try to help that transition time, we would use the interior doors for entry, exterior doors for exit, and then food areas. So there's that food and vending area that is in MCW. And so in orange, we would close that area and block it off. And we would only allow food trucks on campus in orange, and it'd all be outside. In yellow, we would open the seating area in MCW with limited capacity, and we would open up the vending and food truck areas. And we would also, I think I already said yes, we'd open up this cafeteria. So the next one is what I think there's a lot of interest in, is building ventilation, and I'm going to let the expert Orlando talk about this.
Yes. So in about 2 to 3 weeks, we're in the process. We've been working with the consultant to plan for UV lighting installation throughout our campus in our air conditioning systems. In about 2 to 3 weeks, we're looking to have a design package that we can take out to bid. UVC lighting is one system that we're going to implement in addition with others that I'll talk about. But UVC lighting, for those who are not familiar with it, is basically the installation of UV lighting on the airflow side, distribution side of our air conditioning systems. And as air flows through this UV lighting, it kills, the UV lighting kills airborne pathogens. And this is actually a system that is something that we'll be able to benefit from long term, because it'll help with the killing of, you know, common cold or flu virus that becomes airborne and goes through systems, and as well as mold spores. So it's something that, you know, long term we'll be able to benefit from. We've been gathering the information, like I said, in about 3 weeks. We'll have a good idea of when we'll be able to put a package out. This is something that we've been working with the district purchasing department, who has been setting contract strategies in place so that we can fast track it. You know, we're looking at options as buying components as a college and do a owner purchased, owner furnished contractor installed, and we're looking at how we can make this easier to get in place before people return. And right now, the goal is that we'll have it in place by the July deadline that has been talked about. And that's our goal. It looks like it's a very doable goal. If anything, we'll have a good portion of it done, but it looks like right now that we can have much of it done. The 3 colleges are doing the same thing. So we've been talking with the 3 colleges, coordinating with the other directors and VPs, and we're all on the same path and working with the same team. So I'm looking forward to that. In addition, we're going to be upgrading our filtration system as recommended by ASHRAE and CDC and Cal OSHA, where it's feasible. It's not feasible everywhere to go to the, you know, I know a lot of people are talking about going to MERV 13 filters, but if you look, you'll see that it's recommended where feasible, because you can't just simply go out and put a denser filter in the system and expect it to operate the same way. There is potentially long-term damage to our systems that we can face down the road, and which would require replacement. But we're looking at it and talking with the consultant, and it looks like we'll be able to increase our filters in most of our areas.
And those filters don't necessarily have to be upgraded if we're doing the UVC.
Yes, so that is in addition to the UV. As I mentioned when I started talking about UV, this is in addition to other stuff. But even if we just implemented the UV lighting, it's a system that's going to address our concerns
and meet our guidelines that we
exactly. And in the same in this same plan that we're putting together, we're looking at repairing air conditioning systems that have gone down over the years. So this is going to be a good opportunity to get those addressed. A couple of buildings that I know we've heard concerns about lack of proper airflow. So we're going to look at systems that have failed over the years and fix those. And as part of this project, we're also looking at increasing airflow, introducing more outside airflow where possible. So it's a multi approach system that we're going to implement to make sure that we have proper air and good air flowing through the buildings.
So there's a question in the chat that the UVC is only in buildings that currently have AC. That is not correct.
No, some of them, well, and specifically, it's difficult to address it without knowing in a building you're talking about, but not just air conditioning, air handlers. Will you be able to install this on, you know, I'm losing the term, but on furnaces that have a cooling coil, you know, you can install it there. There's different ways to implement it, and we're looking at how we can install it throughout. And where we cannot, we will come up with a plan to have something in place there too.
Between between filters, ventilation, air scrubbers. I do want to say, this UVC system and all of our criteria we talked about restrooms and capacities and all that is also true for VCEC. So we actually can install this UVC system on the air conditioning or HVAC systems at VCEC. And then I also wanted to clarify that there are two big areas here of buildings that weren't addressed yet, and it's because we need to have more conversations with the users. So it's the PAC and the whole gym, small gym, big gym, that area, the locker room. So we are still working on this and making changes as things go, but we need to have more conversations with the users of those buildings to make sure that we can address all the needs there. So I just didn't want people to think we forgot those three areas.
Yeah, I thank you for bringing up East Campus. That was brought up at the last meeting, and after that meeting, looked into the contract, and it's per the contract, we are able to do what we are going to do here over at East Campus.
Okay.
For our lease agreement, I should clarify, our lease agreement with at East Campus.
Okay, questions?
So Kathy, before moving into questions, one of the, there had been confusion with regards to now that we're in the orange tier. What does that mean? Because I know we've all been working, or hopefully you have, and if you haven't, please contact your supervisor, but working on plans, the reopening plans specific to your area, because each of us have different unique spaces that we work in. So it does take those conversations. But people were thinking, okay, we've been planning, what happens in orange, what happens in yellow. Just because we've moved to orange doesn't mean we're ready to come back and implement our orange phase yet. As you can tell, there are still buildings that we're walking through and examining. There's some supplies and equipment that we're putting in place. So we're not anticipating any kind of change in how we're doing business now until after the July 1st deadline, where we kind of put a time clock on us to get all these things in place, putting the stickers on the floor for the distancing and everything. So that's the time. So beginning the first, when we come back, or when August starts, that's the time that whatever phase we're in, or it sounds like the governor might be doing away with the phases, that we'll be implementing that part of the plan. It's a couple weeks before school starts, so it'll give us the opportunity to work through any bobbles that happen and any things that we need to correct, because we really, obviously it's in our best interest to keep everyone safe, and so that's really important to us. So that was one of the rumors that was out there, is like, oh my gosh, we're in orange, do we come back now? And I would recommend, if you have not been on campus, so I'm on campus today, I've got my little yellow, orange, it's actually orange today, wristband. If Orlando and I are there in solidarity, but if you haven't been on campus, I think it's a good idea to work it out with your supervisor to visit campus, so that you can go through the screenings and just get oriented back to campus, because eventually we're excited about being here, so or being back. I do see a hand raised already. Dana, I'll pass it over to you.
Everyone can hear me. I've been having trouble all day.
We can hear you.
Okay, so I just have a question or something to put in your mind. The LRC second floor, we've had issues with the HVAC, for years. And none of the windows on the second floor are able to open. So I was just wondering if that is even in the thoughts of anyone to modify some of those windows on the east and west side, just to get a cross ventilation, on top of the UV sanitizing. I just wanted to put it out there, because that's always been my dream, to have at least a couple windows on both sides that we could open and just get a cross breeze.
Thank you for the suggestion, and we can take it under consideration. I don't know the feasibility of that or not, but thank you for bringing it up. We'll look at that.
The recent work though on the library hopefully will help the air conditioning and the situation there, correct?
Right, Orlando, do you want to?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if Dana has been there recently. I don't know when the last time. Everybody's been on
I was
campus.
there on Monday.
Yeah. We are looking at, like I said, when I was talking about air conditioning, our consultant is looking at any components of existing systems that have failed over time. And if that is the cause of why there isn't sufficient flow, it'll be addressed as part of this, if that's the cause.
And didn't we just replace a chiller there?
The chillers, both rooftop chillers were replaced in October. And so supply should not be an issue. I'm not sure exactly if Dana has a different concern, but the system has been working. The new system has been working.
Other questions?
Dana, did you have something else? I saw you unmute.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, just sometimes it gets stuffy up there. I mean, I've been up there. I know it's probably not set to normal function right now, even after they got the new chiller. And it's still been a little bit stuffy, but I understand because nobody's in there. But just having that cross ventilation, just the ocean air would be fantastic sometimes.
I'll talk to Martin about the ventilation issue to see if there's a concern, something that's not operating correctly.
Maybe they haven't said it fully, like you said, Dana, since the building's not fully occupied in the library, but we can check that.
And look into the feasibility about any windows. The problem is with the windows is if the air conditioning is running and we open the windows, then it makes the air conditioning less effective. It's kind of like one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't things.
That is entirely true.
I probably shouldn't be using that language on a recorded chat. Oh well, c'est la vie. All right, any other rumors, questions? I mean, are hopefully y'all are feeling, I really wanted you to understand that, you know, even though we haven't talked about a lot of this, we have been doing lots of planning behind the scenes. We do have an emergency operations committee that we meet with, I think at least once a month or sometimes a couple times a month, that we've been trying to work through these plans, because I know we haven't thought of everything. That's why we need your help. And that's why if you haven't been involved in planning in your area, please do, and talk to your supervisor so that they can get your input. Well, we have another update before the semester ends. Yeah, we'll definitely have to be rolling out plans and making sure that people are informed of where we are. This is a question from Rocio, where we are with regards to getting all the pieces in place to keep everybody safe. So I anticipate constant updates. So communication is really important.
Right, and especially even in the summer, I see us providing updates. I know we have a lot of people that are off contract, the faculty, but I still see us doing one prior to the August 1st also, just to let people know, you know, where we are with.
Right. And Damien, you had something to add?
No, and I just, to Rocio's end, so my student affairs has a division meeting. We're doing town halls once a month now, just to provide those updates. And we have another one in a couple weeks. We invited Orlando and Sue to come and speak, and Kathy, obviously. But I think we'll be able to provide a lot more updates for those things. But I do really echo what Kim is saying, that everybody's safety is really paramount, and that these conversations have been like at the forefront of all of our conversations. So I know that some of this information may be new to you, but you know, I'm sitting here going, yeah, we talked about that. Oh yeah, we forgot we talked about that. So we are having those conversations because we want to make sure that we're providing a safety return. And also, I would say, Kim, if I'm allowed, we are gonna do some heavy marketing to promote a safe return for our students in the campus and the community at large. So we're excited about, the prospects of not only bringing our community back onto campus, but our students, and whatever that looks like in the fall. So be on the lookout in your mailboxes, at the movie theaters, or when you're driving. For a billboard, because we really want to promote our campus and showcase the great things that we're doing.
Yeah, Jennifer couldn't be here today, but what's shaken out so far in our fall schedules, we have around 30% of our classes that are having either completely face-to-face or components face-to-face. So, we are trying to serve. There was a large part of our population, our enrollments decreased around 12 to 13%, that, and we've seen some of the survey results that confirm it, that, some students don't like the learning environment being virtual. They like being in class and they like being in person. And I know that there's some of us that like that as well. So, but we've got to make sure that we're being safe. So I 30%, and if there's maybe some late start classes that are face-to-face, if we increase it a little bit. This phasing in, I think, is really important so that we can work through any bugs and missteps and try and correct them. So if you're become aware of something that needs to be corrected, please help us in identifying areas that could be strengthened. Any other question? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just want, and just to kind of back on all of it, is that I just want to reassure you again, there's been lots of conversations. There's conversations across the district. So we're getting good ideas from each other. But just be reassured that our commitment is that we will meet whatever guidelines are in place. I know it can be difficult, especially when we've been living in all these colored phases, to really know what the requirements will be. But we will make sure we meet whatever requirements are put out there by public health, the state, OSHA, CDC, whatever resource it is that's providing the guidance at that time. We will meet that, and they are actively doing things now to prepare.
And if it ever we're threatened again in our safety, we know how quickly we can pivot and return to virtual or remote services and instructions. So we've been there, done that. I'm hoping we never ever have to do it again, at least not in my lifetime.
I was gonna mention something similar, Kim. Yeah, we've been here. So our department, others, the grants department, we've been here since the lockdown happened, and we've been working. And I can guarantee you that everybody here wants to make sure that when people return, it's to a place where we have systems in place where we are not going to be, spreading anything again, because we don't want this again. It's just nobody's happy with it. So we're doing everything we can to prevent it.
Okay, so we have 6 minutes left. Any other burning questions?
I want to just thank everybody for the first part too, for the facility master plan, if I can. Just that there were a lot of people, a group from within FOG that helped vet all the applications we got, and they just did a great job. Had to go through a lot of very thick proposals, and I really appreciate all of you participating with the good and the ugly on our buildings, and I just want to thank you for that. Do you have a comment or question?
Oh, Ralph has his hand up. Hi, Ralph.
Hi, Kim. I just wanted to say thank you to all the management for what we've gone through for the last year. I mean, it was unprecedented what we went through to have to leave campus, had to deal with the spring semester, the summer, the fall, and try and make our campus work. And I just want to thank all the management for all of the work that they did to make this happen. And we did not do so bad for where we could have been. You know, I thought we came out of this pretty well, and I think we're going to come out of it better for all what we've gone through. And I think as a college, we've learned a lot. I know I've learned a lot of methods to teach differently and to do things differently. So at the end of the day, I think we'll be better. But I just want to thank all the management for all the work they've done to keep us rolling.
Thank you, Ralph. Yeah, it's taken a village, and I know Dana put in the chat, you know, thank you to FMNO. Joe's done a lot of helping to, you know, purchase the equipment, the protective equipment and things that we need, and the keeping the environment clean. And Orlando's been looking at a lot of facilities and making sure we're safe. And then our student health center staff, I mean, you know, certainly we couldn't have done it without them. They've done such a marvelous job in helping us with everything. And even in our campus police too, they've rallied around. You know, it's been more of a challenge with people not on campus. We've had a lot more you know, vagrants and other issues that they've had to work through, and you know, trying to keep our campus safe and beautiful. So anybody else? We've got 3 minutes.
Sue, I think we should mention Sue, because
oh yeah,
Sue Royer, who's not here today, and Joe Esquivel have been our custodial manager, supervisor, has been doing a phenomenal job of procuring and chasing down all these freebie options for PPE that the state has offered. They've done an incredible job. And Martin and Hector Ayala, Martin Navarro and Hector Ayala, managing, supplying, distributing it, and storing it in our warehouse. Has been a tremendous task, and they've done a tremendous job with it.
Yep, I agree. Damien, you have your hand up, but you're on mute, so you know.
I have been doing that all day today too. So while we're saying amazing thank yous, because they've done an amazing job, everybody that's been mentioned, including the Student Health Center, one thing that you can do to assist with Mary Jones, Adriana Parsons, with the contact tracing is in the app, the app that you utilize when you're coming onto campus. You can now upload a picture of your vaccination card. And if you do that, it tells the campus who's been vaccinated. So if you have a completed vaccination card, go ahead and go into your app when you have time and upload a picture of that so that we can have that information available for us. And that helps with the contact tracing and letting the campus know how many of us have received the vaccination.
Right, because if you've been vaccinated, then it helps the Student Health Center staff know that if you were exposed, that you don't need to self-isolate or quarantine. So there is some benefits other than, and especially the biggest benefit is that hopefully none of us will get COVID being vaccinated. Nadia, you have your hand up. Maybe you had something to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the comment that you made about not having to isolate. So that's not the case. Adriana did clarify it with the union this morning. So it's not really to change your isolation protocols. You would still have to isolate, but it might have to be a little bit different. It's also going to help to sustain whether the efficacy of the vaccine, whether it's actually helping in keeping the numbers down, or if the vaccine is not helping at all. And it's also going to help them decide whether the vaccine may have to become mandated or not, depending on what those numbers look like.
Okay, well, I'm sure there's more to even come, because they're working on the OSHA and the CDC guidelines as we speak, and trying to meet as the situation is constantly changing. But so thank you, Nadia, for that update. Okay, anybody else? Well, we've made it through hump day. Wednesday it's almost 5 o'clock somewhere. Well, it's definitely 5 o'clock somewhere, but it's almost 5 o'clock here. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon and week, and stay safe, everyone.
Don't forget to go back if you want to make add 100 comments about our facilities here on campus.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, go back and do that.
Yeah, go back through the chat back if you don't still have it active.
And you know what? It was funny because Jesus had texted me that he tried to move the needle, but it didn't go all the way to VCE's campus.
Oh.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully put that